Stella, did these lights make me look pale? Really? Hi, and welcome to the Make Things Club, a podcast where I, your host, Sarah, will be talking about making things. This is pretty much my first episode, so it might be a little awkward, mostly because I keep wanting to stare at myself instead of the camera, and my cat sitting here rubbing her face all over my knitting. This is Stella. Stella is intrusive, and she likes to be the center of attention most of the time. So you'll probably meet her lots on the podcast. She's pretty much in my business whenever I have business to do. As long as she doesn't knock anything over, we'll be good. So like I said, this is my first episode, and I'm so glad that you've joined me to see what it's gonna be like, because I still kind of don't know what it's gonna be like, so we're just gonna plow through the awkward first episode where I don't know what I'm doing, and generally like to learn from experience, so this might be a little bit shaky, or it might be great, but whatever, we're gonna make it work. So my name is Sarah. I live in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. What do you want? But yes, back to me. I do live in Edmonton, Alberta, which is usually pretty cold. We've had a fairly mild winter so far, but today, as I record this, it's minus 20 outside, so I'm really glad that I don't have to leave my place for any reason. I started knitting about a year ago, and my introduction to knitting and the supplementary obsession with knitting was kind of 5 years in the making. My partner's sister, basically my sister-in-law, she's a wonderful knitter. She has her own podcast that she co-hosts with her friend under the Relentless Knitting podcast. She taught me almost every single time that I would come to visit her and his family who live in Kelowna. So this year it finally stuck. I finally got really interested in knitting after I left. So I've been kind of working on different projects over the last year and throwing myself into things that would at least teach me a new technique or a new stitch or something new with each one, because I do tend to get bored easily. As a result, I also am not a monogamous knitter. I usually make maybe 2 or 3 projects on the needles. Right now I'm kind of only working on one, which is making me a little crazy, so I do want to do a couple other projects just to keep it fresh. I really, really, really find the community and the support that comes along with knitting, and just kind of being in this kind of a niche craft has just been really, really wonderful so far. I went to my first fiber festival in October and met people that were just as crazy about touching and smelling and rubbing fiber on their face as I was, and it made me feel, for the first time since I started knitting, that I'm not crazy. I do have some friends or just people around that when they find out that I knit kind of think it's like, oh, well, you don't look 90, or why would you knit that when you can just buy something? So it's still kind of coming around to other people that, making things with your hands is just a lot more exciting than straight up purchasing it from the store. So I really enjoy the shopping of yarn. Shopping for yarn is pretty much the best part of knitting, I think. And my partner once remarked that, you seem to like looking at it more than you like knitting with it, and sometimes that's true. But just going into yarn shops has become a traveling souvenir type thing. I really like seeing how other stores are lined up and comparing them with all the other ones that I've been in. So it's really exciting to go and see what kind of stock other people have, or their local dyers and the people that make things in different areas. It's really something that I look forward to bringing with me when I start traveling again. Just finding different fiber from other countries and other makers and that kind of thing. What else? I love candles. I like when things are clean, which they are certainly not right now. This area looks nice, but everything else around me is just it's a bit of a disheveled mess. So I really love it when things have their own place. I love to bake. I love my cats, although Stella is kind of on thin ice today because she's interrupted my podcast more than I would really appreciate her doing. But other than that, I think that's pretty much all that I can think of to tell about myself. If anyone has questions or anything, that's cool, but if not, that's cool too. Since I haven't really had another episode to talk about what's been on my needles recently, I thought I would just kind of show some of the stuff that I've been working on over the last month or two. The first thing that I will show is my first attempt at the Simple House slippers. This is a free pattern by Temple of Knit. You can find it on templeofknit.com or Ravelry. And if you just search Simple House slippers, you'll probably stumble across it on the internet. So this was my first attempt. And essentially it's just a super easy pattern where you're knitting flat for the garter stitch section, join in the round for the stockinette section, and then just a toe. There's really no special Kitchener stitch that you have to know. It's a really easy beginner pattern, and they're super fast and fun to knit. So this was my first pair. The thing about them is that they're way too big. I don't think I was really paying attention to the pattern very well when I was knitting these. So they're too big. And if you look carefully, you'll notice that these look pretty woolly. And this is actually made with 100% natural wool that has been grown and processed in Canada. So that's really fun, considering that our dollar is so horrible right now. It's really nice to buy local. So this was made in Carstairs, Alberta, which is south of me, so it's closer to Calgary, if you're familiar with Alberta. And it comes from Custom Woolen Mills. And this is the ball band for it. So the yarn is called Mule Spinner Yarns, and the colorway is the Lincoln Long Wool Gray. And this stuff is really, really nice and cozy. It's got some squish to it, and it's a little bit rough. It's just like exactly what you would kind of expect for something that was processed and grown in a little farm area. So those were a little bit too big. I'm considering maybe doing a felting project just to see if I can A, learn to felt something properly, and B, have them fit better. But for now, they're kind of nice to wear over a pair of socks. I did make another pair just because the pattern is so much fun to knit. If you want to feel accomplished in a day, just whip one of these out. But these are the second pair that I made. So I made these with some Patton's classic wool worsted yarn that I had in my Michaels drawer. These fit a lot better. They've also been worn quite a bit, but they fit a lot better, and I made the garter stitch section longer than I wanted, or longer than the other ones, just because I kind of liked how that worked. And if the toes were a little bit short and the garter was there, it kind of stretches out nicely. I did a little bit of a different toe, but I think I'll do another pair and be a little bit more fun with the colors. So those slippers were really easy and fun. I kind of wish that my family wasn't super allergic to wool, because I would love to make a pair for everybody. The main thing that I was kind of working on over the last 2 months, though, is my Grateful Moments shawl. So I'll hold this up for you. And this is a pattern that I kind of fell in love with immediately. In October of 2015, I went to my very first Fiber Festival and knitting conference, I guess you would say. And on the day that everyone that I was meeting with was supposed to come, I was in Vancouver a little bit early. So I was wandering around checking out their yarn shops, and I went to Bad Anna's and I saw someone who looked kind of familiar to me, but she was wearing a shawl made out of this pattern. And lo and behold, after chatting with her for a little bit, it turned out that she was the designer, and that's why she looked familiar to me. So this shawl is designed by a wonderful girl named Sylvia, and she goes by Soft Sweater on Ravelry. You should really check out her patterns, because I had a bunch of her patterns already saved on my library before I even kind of knew that's who it was. But she ended up having a mustard yellow, beautiful color. That's actually the shawl that's in her pattern. It is a paid pattern, so it's $6 Canadian. Lucky Americans, that works out to 25 cents for you. But it's a quick pattern to memorize, and it does take it took me a little while just because I didn't want to mess it up. So This was a labor of love in which I pretty much binge watched the entire canon of Scandal, and also Making a Murderer while I was finishing it up. So this is just gorgeous. I love it. The yarn that I used for it is called Yoth Little Brother in the shiitake colorway. And I do want to reblock this. It is quite large, but I was kind of expecting it to be a little bit bigger. I wanted to wear it on Christmas Eve, so I only had one shot to block it. And I have problems when it comes to blocking shapes. I'm not sure the best way to do it. I've tried doing the measuring to make sure that it's like the same size and everything works out well, but this little border here isn't supposed to be straight. It's actually supposed to have little peaks on it. And I had the hardest time trying to get that to work because the blocking mats that I'm using don't like being told that they have to hold the pins where I want them to. So I'm finding if I'm really trying to scratch it out, and that's something that was in the blocking notes where I believe the phrase was block the ever-loving hell out of it. But my blocking mats just kind of aren't the best, and I think that that's probably because they're actually those exercise blocks that you put on the ground and you kind of interchange them, and they keep your knees from getting really bad when you're doing yoga or something. So I would like to try a different method of blocking where my T-pins don't feel like they have to migrate through the material once I'm trying to block it. So those are the things that I've kind of finished lately. What I actually have on my needles now, and I have this in my Sweet Fiber 88 Stitches yarn bag. I got this. It's from Danica Studios, but I love the little cabling stitches on it. So right now I am actually working on the Ruby Jane shawl, and I'll put a picture up so that you can kind of see what it's supposed to look like in the end. But I cast this on January 1st. This is my first cast on of 2016, and this is what I have so far. So it's top down. Here's the top. You can kind of see what the pattern looks like. It's just pretty simple until you get to the lace bottom. So this is just going to take some time because you're supposed to repeat 2 rows until you have 326 stitches. And my gosh, counting things is hard. But this is what I'm using to do it. Hopefully you can see the little sparkles in it. This is the first time I've actually knit with Stellina, and I can guarantee you there's going to be a lot more of it just because every stitch feels like a party. I love glitter. So this is the ball band for it. It's Marianne Sparkle. It's a hand dyer out of Kamloops, BC, and the colorway is called Naturally Navy. So I'm hoping to make a decent amount of progress on this over the next week. I do want to have this finished pretty quickly just because I love my shawls. So, oh, and yeah, if you hadn't seen my little donut stitch markers, I got those from my sister-in-law for Christmas, and I don't remember the shop, so I'll have to put that in the notes. In terms of plans, over the next week, there's a couple things that I would like to work on, and that is these. So my local yarn shop is called River City Knits, and they are selling Thrum mitten kits. I got a little excited and took it out of the container because, of course, I have to touch everything, so I can't quite get it back in. But if you look carefully, so classic Thrum knits, on the back is a pattern. So it essentially comes with everything that you need. The fiber comes from Fleece Artist, and it is blue-faced it's BFL. I can't say the words, but it's BFL with the roving already included. So if you take it apart, you've got the roving for your thrums, which I think is pretty cool. And knowing my obsessive tendencies, I'm probably going to split it up in colors and then do alternating just because type A, need control. And the yarn itself, I don't see any names for the colorway, or if this is a colorway or if it's just, whatever got dyed. But if you can kind of see, there's a bunch of different colors in here. And I'm a little concerned because it looks like, it might look different once I wind it. but I hope that it kind of blends because it does look like half of it is a completely different color and I don't want it to be too different from the other mittens. So I'm really excited to kind of try those. I've never knit mittens before and I've never done thrums. So this is kind of like an exciting thing that I'm looking forward to doing. I also got the River City Knits pattern for it, and they have a wonderful tutorial for how to do thrums on YouTube if you search for River City Yarns. What am I saying River City Knits for? But on River City Yarns YouTube channel, they only have 2 videos on it, and it actually happens to just be 2 on how to do thrums. So I'm really looking forward to trying that. I'm really looking forward to being able to knit something that I haven't knit before, and we'll see how it goes. It doesn't look too complicated, so I'm hoping to just blow right through it. I also have this thing. So I was in Kelowna the weekend before Christmas and we were doing an outdoor theater and I wanted something to keep me warm. So I have this thing with cowls where I like to wear them, but I like them. I live in Edmonton. It's -20 outside right now. So I like it when they kind of sit close, but I don't like having to wrap them. So I attempted to just kind of do a cowl that would just sit nice and close to my face, but this one is way too wide. So I love this color. It's the Cascade Magnum. So I think it's 100% Peruvian wool. It's just so squishy and so wonderful. And the color is something that I probably wouldn't have bought unless somebody in front of me had it in line. But I'm looking to find another kind of pattern where it's more of a nice, quick, cozy knit. So I'll probably be ripping this out in the next week as well to make something new with it. I also, from my sister, got a kit that I'm really excited to start. So it's a fox applique and embroidery kit, and it comes from the Art of Yarn yarn store in Kelowna. They do have these available for sale online, so you might want to check them out. It's Heidi Boyd and it's Whimsy Stitches. So this is the applique kit. That's what it's supposed to look like. And inside, you get everything that is required to make it. So you've got like the patterns. It's got everything to let you know how to do it. And it comes with all of the felts and needles and everything that you would need. So I'm really excited to start that. Oh, and it comes with your little embroidery loop as well. I'm really excited to start that. I think this would be a nice meditative watching TV kind of project. So that's also on my list for the next week. And because my mom is so awesome at Christmas and she hates doing the shopping stuff, she usually gets us together a month before. Hi, Stella. Gets us together a month before, hands us money and tells us to buy our own Christmas presents, which we wrap and then open at her place. So one of the things that I wanted to start and got myself with that little money thing that she gave us, I got a bunch of little unicorn tails from Madeline Tosh. And these I would like to kind of start working on a Cozy Memories blanket. So I will hopefully be getting these into little balls as well and throw them in a bag because I keep watching everybody else use the most wonderful little mini skeins to make their blankets with. So I have a different amount of colors. I'm excited to start working on that. And I also want to make something with this. So this is Ancient Arts, which is such a wonderful brand anyways. Like they make the most amazing fingering weight yarns and everything, but this is the first time that I've seen bulky weight from them. So it's called Big Squeeze. It's 100% superwash merino and it's really, really nice to squeeze, I'm not gonna lie. So this colorway is called Inuit Art and I'm just so in love with the colors on it. I think this would make something really lovely. It's just, I'm a little intimidated by finding a pattern that I like enough to use this with. Do you ever have that problem where you get really, really nice yarn but you never want to use it because it's just so pretty? I find I just like to look at things and revel in them, but when I knit them I kind of get disappointed by the pattern that I chose or that it just didn't work out quite as well as I wanted it to. But just, it's gorgeous. I really, really like it. So that was of course a really important thing for me to purchase that day. And other than that, I do need to cast on a pair of socks. I've been having a lot of problems with socks lately. I have finished one singular Rose City roller sock, and I have not bothered to make another one. So the first one was a little bit messy. It was done in a car on a road trip, and my toe is like this instead of like this because I wasn't paying attention to the decreases. So because I'm a little type A and I'm a little obsessive, I kind of just want to start a whole new pair. But the casting on and the working on the thing in the round just hasn't been working out for me lately. I kind of found out that I have been knitting backwards, so everything is inside out. So I've kind of been working on fixing that, and it's like an embarrassing rookie mistake. So it's getting psychological now. I'm starting to get angry whenever I'm trying to cast on a sock. So one of my goals this month is to knit a full pair of Rose City rollers. So those will hopefully be cast on as well. Other than that, is there anything else that I kind of wanted to go through? I think that's it. So yeah, this is kind of interesting, talking to myself for a large amount of time, and hopefully this works out to be a decent first episode of a podcast. So thanks for joining me. I'm really excited to kind of throw myself onto the internet this way, and hopefully you've enjoyed what I've talked about so far. Hopefully my next podcast will have a little bit more content in it. I just kind of wanted to get this first one out of the way so that it's not as awkward the next time, or I don't feel as weird about it. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you want to follow along, I do have an Instagram account called Make Things Club. You can follow me on there. I'm on Ravelry as Romperlest. And I also have a website that you can find information on called makethingsclub.com. So I hope you enjoyed it. I will be back next week or the week after, maybe. Let's just say next week. Lofty goals. Let's just do it. And I will hopefully see you then. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. Bye.